Darling, forever I would trade it for your love, your joy forever.
Phone poppy, and she call me Young Poppy. That's my little shawty. She get thicky in the body. She got hottie toddy when she make it wet for me. Got that body on you, girl. You know I wanna play some hide and seek. You're someone that I wanna meet. You're someone that I wanna see. You're someone that I wanna see. And I got every idea in mind to get you poppin'. She said she just wants some liquor, so just stop it. I don't pop no pills or do none of that extra. I be chillin', smoking ganja with my niggas. I got so much, so many dreams, so many things to hold up. So many things on my mind. So many things to let shine.
Welcome back to Unrestricted Free Agent. Got a special episode for y'all today. Here with my boy, my good teammate, Mr. Ahmad. Brought you on for a few reasons. One, because we kind of share the same lane, and I know we'll definitely get into that with your podcast space because you're killing it right now with Slam. But just talk about a little bit your basketball background. I know we don't really account for just, I know Melo said it before, the hood hero thing, and just what it means growing up in St. Louis and just the elite senior class that you were a part of. And just kind of just a little bit of your accolades, brag on yourself a little bit.
I don't really like the, I don't really like the brag. I don't do the bragging.
You say this is the podcast. You got to go in a little bit. I got the stats here, so whatever you don't say, I'm gonna say anyway.
I mean, it's crazy though, because a lot of people don't even know this. Like, only play other than college, of course, 4 years in college, but like, only play like competitively, like 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in my entire life. So because I was playing baseball, like growing up in St. Louis, like my dad and mom, they couldn't really like in the nighttime. I used to always want to play basketball. I used to play on the street though. I used to play a lot of street ball, play in the hood and shit. But I couldn't really, they couldn't afford to like take me at night because practice was at 8, 9 o'clock on the school nights and stuff like that. My mom wasn't going for that. You know, she was a stay-at-home mom and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, high school, I was part of the 2011 class. We, Bradley Beal, guys like that, BJ Young, Cam, Bichon, God rest his soul. He was 2012. But yeah, I played it was a lot of talent in St. Louis, man. But that was years ago, man. It's so hard for me to even go back down that lane because that was like 10 years ago.
You're not telling you an old head yet, bro. You got to tell
like 10 years. No, but from a St. Louis standpoint, St. Louis is my city, man. Born and raised. Yeah. The good, the bad, the ugly. It's a lot of pain in my city, I would say, but it's also a lot of talent. Not just like if you're talking about sports wise, you just talk about like creativity wise and stuff like that. Yeah. Everybody talks about Chicago, but we're kind of like the Midwest. Nobody really talks about St. Louis because nobody really knows where St. Louis is at. Like, especially on the East Coast. Yeah. You ask people on the East Coast, where you from? I'm from St. Louis. Are you from the South? Like, no, I'm from the Midwest. Like, what? St. Louis in the Midwest? So that's how it is. But St. Louis, I feel like no matter where I go, I'm gonna be fine because of the environment I kind of grew up in. Like, I grew up in the hood, so like. When I first moved out here to Newark, New Jersey, people was just like, "You moving to Newark? It's bad in Newark." I'm like, "I'm from St. Louis."
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love when people try to do that, the little retrospective thing. Like, bro, do you know where I'm from?
Yeah, so it's just like when people talk about like get out the mud, like I really kind of like lived that in a way. But like I don't want to make it seem like I was just like in the streets or nothing like that because I wasn't. But it's just like it's like growing up in the hood, you kind of like know how to move. But at the same time, I had a tribe that kept me away from joining the Bloods, joining the Crips, and all that stuff. Like had me like tunnel vision, locked on, kind of like sports in a way. I was playing baseball, like I said, but just kind of like I had a mom that was a stay-at-home mom who sacrificed her career just to make sure that she got me up to speed to be able to, go to college. And, without her, it's just kind of like I probably wouldn't even graduated high school. I was so far behind. I was part of a DSEC program that took inner city kids back when they were 5 years old, and they placed them into these rich public schools. So I went to, by the time I was 5 years old, the day I graduated, I went to an all white predominantly school. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like two, three black kids in the classroom, stuff like that. Like waking up at 6:30 in the morning, get on the bus stop at 6:50, getting bussed out to, you know, one of this great institution. And at first, like growing up, you really don't understand, like, yo, like, how come I can't go to school in my hood? And you really don't understand. Like my grandma used to always say, like, you're gonna one day realize like the type of education that you're getting, and you're gonna be thankful for it. But at the same time, I grew up, I realized that I was truly thankful for having that experience. But at the same time, it's just kind of like being 5 years old and to 18, and then still having to come back to the hood every day and deal with the shit you had to deal with. But you go into this white school every single day with people that don't look like you, teachers that don't look like you. And it's just kind of like, you already know how it is from a black male standpoint, especially, you know, all white space. So I was getting in trouble, getting suspended, all that types of stuff. And also I didn't really gravitate towards like those people. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, I was always myself. And then we had somewhere, you know, other black kids that kind of like, in order for them to kind of like, I want to say kind of find themselves, they kind of gravitated toward that lifestyle of like kind of being something they really wasn't, because that's all they kind of knew. Like all they knew was hanging out with white people, hanging out with dating white girls, like, you know, going to all white schools. So it's just kind of like looking back on that, I'm glad I kind of stayed true to myself. And that's just kind of like, you know, St. Louis for me, you know, that's my home, man. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah. So kind of going on to that, and you skipped over a little bit, but talk about that class again. I know, as we said, we have it right here. Let me read it off for you, because people don't know who these people are, man. You had Bradley Beal, who we all know who that is, was leading the county in scoring. Then you had Cam, RIP, went mid to high. You had BJ Young, once again, high. Yeah. You had Eli Sample, Loyola Chicago, if I'm not correct. Yeah. Then you had your teammate, Christian Thompson.
Yeah, my boy Christian, yeah.
And then you had you. And out of those top five, you were the only one who didn't go D1. Was that, talk about that choice a little bit, because I feel like people would look at that and be like, what the heck? Like you was rolling with some high hitters, and you're the only one kind of chose a different path. Just what was in that decision, and did you have the option? Did you choose not to, or was it just in you to want to stay home in St. Louis? And
yeah, it was kind of, it's crazy. I was like, you made me go back down memory
lane. Yeah, we got to.
A lot of stuff I kind of buried deep inside. But I mean, that's always been like, I always get that question because, you know, real people know me in St. Louis, know how cold I was, you know what I'm saying? But the only thing about it was just like, you know, recruiting classes, your junior year, you're really supposed to get them offers. You're really supposed to like do really well. But for me, it was just like, I was dealing with a lot of like, you know how it is when you play in college, and you can relate to this, like being in a situation where like, you know that you better than some guys that are playing above you, but it's just kind of like politics and stuff like that. And then me being who I was at the school and as a black man, it kind of wasn't acquiescing to like some of the demands that my counterparts may have been doing. No, I was just me, bro. Like getting kicked out of practice. You know what I'm saying? I was just, you know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't really relate to a lot of stuff, you know, and that kind of hurt me. But at the same time, from a game standpoint, like I got hurt like my junior year. I dislocated my shoulder twice or whatever. That averaged like 8 points per game. And I was hurt most of the season. And then my senior year came, and I was like, I remember having a conversation with my coach Looney. I told him like before the season started, I was like, yo, he was like, what are some goals that you have for this year? I was like, people gonna see like how cold I am. I told him I was gonna average like 20 or more points. I told him I was gonna be one of the best in the state. I told him I was gonna, you know, be top 10 in scoring. And he was like, oh, you got to stay on the court first. I remember he told me that. And I was like, yeah, all right, you gonna see. and then that season, I kind of did that. You know what I'm saying? And I had like D1 interest and stuff like that. Never really got a offer, but had a whole bunch of like walk-on opportunities.
Yeah.
And also like I was kind of chasing D1. So it's just I passed up on a lot of like D2 opportunities as well. You know, I wanted to go to Lynn University, but I had to get my ACT score up. So that was, you know, I couldn't go there. Then like I remember like Quincy. Like Quincy. There's another D2 school. They came into the practice. before my senior year, I had got into a fight with one of my teammates, you know what I'm saying? One of my homeboys, you know what I'm saying, got into a fight or whatever. So that was that. But then it was kind of like, basically, it was just like I was gonna go walk on to a D1 school. I was gonna walk on to Western Illinois. And I kind of, at the end of my senior season, I kind of had that like opportunity to go walk on and stuff like that. So I get on campus, and it was just kind of like, it was in Macomb, Illinois. Like, it was a Walmart. It was nothing other, and in the school. I was like, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I was like, I don't know if I really want to try to live this life or whatever. And it was just like another thing, like I had a guaranteed walk-on spot, but it was just kind of like the money aspect.
Yeah.
They was giving me no money for school. So it's just kind of like, I was just like, nah. I was just like, and I really just wanted to go to I was just gonna go to school or take off a year and then probably just like go to JUCO route and stuff like that. But at the same time, I was like, damn, I'm not about to come from Clayton, this great ass education that I got, and then go JUCO. I'm like, nah, I ain't really trying to do that shit. So then basically my dad called Coach Bunch, they had just kind of came to one of my games, and I had brushed them off. I was like, I'm not going to Webster, you know what I'm saying? Basically a week before Webster started, like my freshman year, I enrolled, you know what I'm saying? They gave me all this money and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I went to D3 instead of like playing walking on and having a chance to compete for a scholarship or playing D2 and stuff like that. So it was a mixture of things or whatever. But at the same time, it was just was a blessing in disguise, because I think your life, the journeys that you go through and where you at now, it's kind of like you look back on it, it's just like, if I can make that decision all over again, I probably would still make the same decision. Yeah.
And again, you had a hell of a career. You finished second in scoring, using pretty much all the record books, all decade team and all that stuff. So, I mean, it's safe to say that it worked out for you. I know it's good that you said you don't have any regrets. I know that's kind of important, especially with a lot of the athletes nowadays, where they kind of think they mess up their future with one decision and they don't get the chance to kind of look back on it and think, maybe that's exactly where they need to be. And then next, I'll just talk about your decision to not pursue professional basketball. Kind of coming out. I know you posted an email one time. I know people always try to act like, what I'm saying, just because you don't talk about it, it didn't happen, nothing like that. But
for real,
the pursuit of just not taking a G League route, or even just not going to any offers that you had.
Yeah, it's crazy because I don't really like talking about like high school or like college stuff, because that's I'm trying to focus on the present, you know what I'm saying? But people do try to pretend like, even some of your friends, like they, that I've met out here since I've moved out to the East Coast and stuff like that. Like, bro, like, you know me, but like
you really don't know. Yeah.
You really don't know. Like I was cold, like I'm stamped in this, like I'm solidified, and it's crazy because like people say, oh, you talking about high school, you talking about college and stuff like that. And I don't even do that, but it's just like, if you start talking about basketball, it's just kind of like, no, I live this in all aspects, you know what I'm saying? Like career-wise, getting a higher degree in sports management and sports business, like playing, like having the opportunity to go overseas. Like opportunity I had to go overseas was in Norway, you know what I'm saying? But it was just kind of like, I had already told myself, it's just like, if I couldn't, and then also like, go back to college, I had like a little, college sweetheart and stuff like that. So that kind of factored your decision and stuff like that at the time. And also I wasn't really trying to go to Norway. And then I remember basically like I applied for an internship with the Philadelphia Sixers. I remember like telling God, it was like, because I had a semester left at Webster. It was either like go to Norway or go to the Philadelphia Sixers' internship. I applied to the Philadelphia Sixers' internship. I told God, I was like, like, if I'm meant to like kind of start my career in the sports industry, that's what I wanted to do. It's just kind of like, you gonna bless me with this internship.
Yeah.
Basically, I got the call. I applied on a Monday, got an interview on a Wednesday, got the offer on a Friday. And right then and there, I knew I was kind of like, this kind of the route I'm supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? But I'd always told myself, like, if it was like London, Spain or somewhere, maybe Italy, I would have tried to go overseas. But at the same time, a lot of people don't know about overseas. It's just like, you could be playing overseas, but it's different tiers. You know what I'm saying? Like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. Like I would have been playing like tier 4 or tier 3. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like those mid tiers. Just like, well, you're gonna have to be probably waiting for your check. You know what I'm saying? Only a food stipend for a month. They don't know that part. So it's like going overseas is like, yeah, you go overseas, but it's just like, it's not always going overseas unless you're playing in the top two leagues of every division. You know what I'm saying? So that was that for the overseas route. And then for like the G League route, I remember Coach Bunch emailed me and Stefan and basically told about this opportunity. Like they were interested in us going to Detroit to kind of try out, have one of those tryouts for their G League teams, like with multiple people and stuff like that. And I was already, by then wasn't playing basketball like that. And if you played, so you got to get yourself in basketball shape. Yeah. So it's kind of like, for that opportunity, if I was playing and hooping every single day, I would have probably went and tried that just to say, who knows what could have happened. But at the same time, I wasn't in basketball shape. But just to know that, like, I still had the opportunity and could have had the opportunity and had that chance because people were sending that emails and stuff. Just let you know that I was really stamped. You know what I'm saying? And people, but but it's just like other people try to talk about like basketball and things like that, and like try to question your ability or question your talent or question like what you do and stuff like that. And I don't never like bringing that stuff in the past, but if you force me to do it, I'll make you look like a fool. So that's kind of how that came to part about me overseas in the G League and stuff like that before it became the D League before it came to the G League.
And so I feel like that's an important part. Like people who, and we're gonna talk about this later, but just I feel like the whole analyst and kind of sports fan route is filled with just, for lack of a better word, like they're idiots. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they have no clue of any of the reality of any facets of the game. And I mean, I feel like it's fun to poke fingers and stuff like that. But they talk to people who really kind of lived it and really been involved in their life and try to tell them that they know better watching from a computer screen and following the sport all their life. And so I just find it hilarious.
They don't know like what it's like growing up in the hood and basically saying like, yo, like, Mom, I'm gonna get a scholarship. Like, I'm trying to get a scholarship. You ain't got to worry about college and stuff like that. Or like understanding like from the time I was, 16 to 23 years old, waking up in the morning, grinding, working out, practicing, like coming home late. They don't know like the sacrifice. They don't know the sacrifice when it comes to like emotionally, your family. You got to have a tribe as well. And then it's just kind of like mentally, like not everybody can do that. Like that's why we saw in college, when we went to play college, everybody's like, we playing D3, but D3, it don't matter what level that you're playing, D2, D1, D3, it's all the same because it's just a matter of like 0.8%. I think it's like 1.2 athletes, high school basketball athletes go and play D3, 0.8 go play, or 0.9 go play D2. And then like 0.6 go play D1. You know how small those percentages, you know what I'm saying? That's like they don't understand it. They can't comprehend that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like people don't understand how good you got to play at any level. That's why real hoopers respect real hoopers. That's why me and you, we could go play a D2 school or a low D1 school at Webster and almost beat them. You know what I'm saying? That's why my freshman, we almost beat Tennessee Martin. Or like my sophomore year when you came on, you was a freshman. My expedition game, we almost beat the D2 champions. We lost by 3 points. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, if you can hoop, you can hoop. You know what I'm saying? Only thing that's really a difference is just kind of like lack of opportunity, maybe athleticism, politics. It's a whole lot of things that plays in a factor when guys are going to D1, D2, and D3. It's not always just a talent aspect. And a lot of like casual people that don't really understand like or ever played at a high level don't really understand or get that.
And just going into the highest level of the game, the NBA talk, I know this is kind of your forte. I wanted to have kind of a preseason. We're about 5. I wanted everybody to get kind of like 4 or 5 games in so we can get a look at every team. I want you to call out the awards right now. So we got MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Sixth Man, and then East and West champions. Who comes out the East and West?
Yes, I'm gonna call my ones that I predicted. I'm not gonna flip-flop. I'm gonna flip-flop one. That's the Rookie of the Year. But other than that, I'm gonna keep the ones I said.
I switched one too.
Yeah. So MVP, I said Kevin Durant. I think with the whole situation with Kyrie Irving, being, we don't know what's happening with that situation. I feel like in James Harden, the way James Harden's playing, I think Kevin Durant, if he can keep the Brooklyn Nets afloat and they can still be a top 2 seed in the Eastern Conference and he can still dominate and put up stats, I think he's going to have that like media narrative push, for MVP, because people are going to talk about. So a lot of people saying, I feel bad for Kevin Durant. I ain't saying that. You know what I'm saying? You got a top 5 player in James Harden. You better be like looking at James Harden like, yo, what's up? But it's just kind of like, it's a lot of people to me, like, I feel bad for Kevin Durant. He has to deal with like Kyrie Irving's not there and James Harden and this and that and stuff like that. So I think he's going to have that kind of like that media push. So that's my MVP. Defensive player of the year. I said Anthony Davis. I'm hoping Anthony Davis get it because he's been robbed so many times.
That's how I feel about that.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Anybody but Rudy Gobert, which is crazy. I heard today on Twitter.
Listen.
I just got my Twitter back. It's been 5 months.
Bro.
The first thing I hear at a full day on Twitter is that Rudy Gobert is an MVP candidate because he
leader. They had him leading the charge.
He averages 16 and 15 rebounds. Prime DeAndre Jordan numbers, but he an MVP candidate. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. That's what we doing here. Rookie of the year. I switched it for Cade because Cade is going to take a while for Cade to kind of find his flow in the NBA, I believe. My heart wants Jalen Green to win because I love pure hoopers. So I'm going to roll with Jalen Green, but Scotty Barnes is special.
Listen, from the crib, bro. I told people coming in.
He's special.
The best thing that could have happened to him was Siakam being out. I said that to everybody. I said that's the best thing that could have happened to him, bro. But I think Evan Mobley's a dark horse, though.
Yeah, I didn't think Evan Mobley was going to get a lot of minutes that he's getting, but he's special as well. Most improved, who's been kind of like, I'm not going to say disappointing. He's learned how to play the toughest position in the NBA, but I still picked him to be my most improved player of the year, even though I felt his team was going to be trash and sorry. That's Kevin Porter Jr. Maybe he can like turn it up a little bit, start showing that 50-point performance last season was like, little highlights of his talent and potential, but I need him to show that consistent, like, I need him to pick it up. But he's, like I said, he's learned how to play the point guard position, which is going to be very, very difficult. Yeah. 6th man of the year, I picked before the season started. I picked Tyler Hero. I thought this was a make it or break it year for Tyler Hero, especially since like people talk about like, you see those little crazy images of Trey and Luka Doncic and then Tyler Hero. Like let's just appreciate what Tyler Hero is doing. We also got to understand that Tyler Hero is playing the bulk of his minutes against team's second unit.
Yeah.
Trey Young and Luka Doncic are the focal point of their teams and offenses. It's a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like Jimmy Butler, you got Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry. Like,
we don't go in. Stop Tyler Hero. Like that's not a game plan, bro.
Exactly. Like he's playing that role, the 6th man in the role, and he's doing a hell of a job. That's why I think he's going to win 6th man a year. But the whole Luka and Trey nonsense, like we not even gonna do that. So those are my award picks. Oh, you said what you say?
East and West coming out. Yeah, who you got coming out?
I think the Los Angeles Lakers should be the Western Conference representatives for this upcoming season. I think if they're healthy. I don't think I get it. People talking about their lineups and stuff like that. But to me, when it's go time, when it's money time, when it's the playoffs, Russell Westbrook, whoever's got that pill flowing at the 2, that could be Malik Monk, whoever's just shooting the 3 ball really well, probably be starting during that time. Then you got LeBron at the 3, Carmelo at the 4, Anthony Davis at the 5. That's going to be like the playoff lineup. Yeah. I get Lakers fans want like, oh, we want that now. We want to see it. Like it's a marathon, not a sprint. And coaches don't want to show their full hand, early on the season. That's why they toying with lineups. So Eastern Conference, it should be the Brooklyn Nets. With or without Kyrie.
Okay.
It should be if Kevin Durant's the best player in the league. We kind of got into this a little bit on Twitter. Yeah. If Kevin Durant is the best player in the league, you got to get it done. Like you got James Harden. Yeah, 2 top 5 players in the world. Get it done. But I'm feeling we may have a bubble rematch. We may have a bubble rematch. Miami is here. I'm a basketball fan first, but if it's one team that I support the most, it has to be the Miami Heat, just for my love Dwayne Wade, just like you are with Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. But I'm a closet Lakers fan. You already know, like years.
You know
what I'm saying? Been tiptoeing since they got my boy Nick Young. But yeah, Miami Heat are special defensively. Like they can throw so many bodies at you on your team's opposing's best player. So if they're playing the Bucks and Giannis, they can throw Jimmy Butler one possession, the next possession they'll PJ Tucker, next possession they'll Bam, and they can do that with Kevin Durant. They can do that against James Harden. So it's just kind of like defensively, they are here. I'm only worried about is just like offensively, can you trust Jimmy Butler? Because we've seen Jimmy Butler have success in the playoffs, but also seen Jimmy Butler last year. He got cold. He was 14 points, shooting 39% in the first round against the Milwaukee Bucks last season. So it's just kind of like if Tyler Hero is here throughout the regular season, here in the playoffs, and their best shot creator, then they have a chance. But it's just like, I don't know about Jimmy Butler. Hopefully he's that Jimmy Butler we saw in the bubble. We got to just wait and see. But that's probably I'm gonna say the Brooklyn Nets, because I still think Kyrie Irving's gonna come back.
I agree.
Eventually. And the Lakers. But I'm really close to saying we're gonna have a bubble rematch.
Yeah. I agree with some of those. So my MVP, I think I agree Kevin gets it, but I think if the Heat finish a top 3/4 seed with
Jimmy Butler,
he gotta finish top 3 in MVP voting. I can't understand how they would deny him. I mean, right now it's the 27, 6 and 6. Like I just can't see how. And I honestly think they're gonna win 55 plus games. I just have a strong inclination that they do. So if the everybody else, the Warriors are mid-grade pack, they're 4th, 5th seed. If the Nets, which I think they'll turn around too, but if they struggle, they're 4th, 5th seed in the East, and the Heat finish top 2, I don't see how. I honestly don't know how it doesn't happen if that happens. Do I think he's gonna get it? No, but that's also my problem with the MVP voting. Defensive Player of the Year, which again I'm split on this because they don't do 2 players same awards. I want Bam to get it this year. That's my vote for it. I hope he gets it this year, but because Ben Simmons ain't playing. Whole different topic. But yeah, so I think he wins Defensive Player of the Year. What else? Rookie of the Year, Scotty, all the way. I think he got in the bag. I honestly, from what I've seen, I don't think Siakam coming back will influence his numbers as much as I thought they would originally. I do think that they're gonna have a problem moving forward because sharing that floor with him, Siakam, Anobi, and whoever they start outside of Precious, or that's gonna be a problem. Because one of your shooters got to go to the bench. That means Van Vliet got to go to the bench, or Gary Trent, which isn't happening, but that means Gary Trent got to get pushed. So that means they're losing shooting. So I don't know. I worry about them.
If I'm gonna go to St. Warriors, I'll make a call and try to get Pascal. Man, he'd be a perfect fit.
I agree. I agree.
He'll be a perfect fit. Pascal, he's a little bit more skilled though. Like he can shoot the ball, clear off the dribble and stuff like that, but his best attribute, like you said, is still slashing. So that lineup may be nasty, especially
if you got 3 players at the front who do the same exact thing, just at different tiers. So that's why I worry about them. I still think Scotty has Rookie of the Year pretty much in the bag and let that happen. My most improved though, I honestly said Jordan Poole. So this is when I flip-flop. I thought Jordan Poole was going to be a clear-cut front runner, and he's going through his shooting struggles. He'll bounce back. He'll be fine. Miles Bridges showed me some things though. That's my most improved pick. I think he's comfortable. I see the confidence, and I think he fits into that system where they just running guns. So at any given night, you could have anybody but they thrive on playing small, and he plays a lot bigger than his position. So I got him for most improved. I agree. Hero got 6 man of the year locked up. I mean, I don't even think he has any competition, to be honest. They talking about giving him most improved and 6 man. So we'll see about that. I think. I say Miami comes out the East, man. I think Kyrie does come back. I think he comes back late, and I just think the chemistry stuff, and people raved about their depth coming in. I just don't see it as much as people thought. I think they have a solid 3 coming off the bench. I say Patty Mills, LaMarcus, and then the rest is a toss-up any given night. I mean, Bruce Brown if he doesn't start, but I don't see that everybody's talking about, and I think that's what's going to kind of hurt him a little bit. But as you said, I do agree. If KD's KD, then they get it done no matter what. I'm out on the Bucks. I think they just that last year was just everything lined up perfectly. I do think they get better. I do think they win 50 plus games. I think Drew Holiday, as we can see, was such a big part of that team. But
yeah,
I think we've seen a motivated Heat team. I think the Heat come out the East. And in the West, obviously I'm rolling with the Lakers. I think Lakers come out if no bad injuries don't happen. And then I think second team, I think if Klay comes back healthy, I got the Warriors coming out. So, but I'm with you everything. I think we see a bubble rematch. But, and I told you this, I struggle. I don't know how the Heat lose 2 in a row, bro. If they make it.
About the final, I know. It's
if
crazy.
They make it, I wouldn't bet against them.
Especially if Oladipo is right. People forget about Oladipo.
He don't have to be 100% neither. He can just be 70%. And that team is scary.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
I don't see how they lose. I think it would go 7 no matter who they played. But
I think the Heat it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. We're gonna see though. We gonna see. It's crazy because like for firepower, you probably want the Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers. You probably thinking like,
you
want that forever. But like Miami and LA part 2 would be probably crazy because we know Miami gonna bring it defensively.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just from a standpoint of fan bases and atmosphere would be insane. That'd be a duel for the ages. I'd be okay with that for sure. And then kind of the next segment, this is my favorite kind of stuff. I've been waiting for you to actually bring this one out. So we're just gonna talk about and define, because I always see Bag Twitter talk about Giannis and his moves. And I think we really, as a society, as fans, don't know what having a bag means, but that kind of goes back into what we said about people just not having played the game of basketball competitively. Yeah. So I want to kind of have a breakdown, and we're just going to talk about what having a bag means. And then I'm going to list some players. You're going to tell me bag or not. So that's kind of our game segment. So first off, just in your words, what does having a bag mean?
Yeah, it's crazy because most people just think about, having a bag, the guy got to shoot. That's not even, you got to be a hot.
hesitation pull up, and that's it.
He got to be a 3-point shooter. Nah, it's just like, to me, having a bag is being able to operate at every level on the basketball court and being able to get your shot no matter the defensive coverage. I think that's what people need to understand. Like, can you break down a defense, especially in the half-court system, isolation, score at every spot on the basketball court, or can defense stop you? You know what I'm saying? And kind of like scheme against you. So I look at and it's different tiers because some people say LeBron James doesn't have a bad, but I can argue LeBron James does have a bad, but he's just not in the same tier as a Kyrie Irving or Stephen Curry. So I'll say like tier 1. These are your pure game for us, like handle ability, shooting ability, creating off a dribble, isolation. Guys like Allen Iverson, guys like Kyrie Irving, Stephen Curry, Paul George, can score in a variety of ways. Tier 2, I would say Kevin Durant, Jaylen Brown, Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum. Guys can score in a variety of ways, knows how to get to their spots, still has a handle, can break you down isolation, but also can still like come off pin downs and stuff and hit easy open jump shots. Yeah. Effortlessly. Tier 3, I would say like guys like Kawhi, LeBron, and Luka Doncic, guys who like know how to get to their spots on the basketball court. Like their handles may not be like the tier 1 or tier 2 guys, but it's kind of like you ain't ripping the ball from them. You know what I'm saying? They still gonna get to their spots. They still gonna score in a variety of ways, and they can still score at every level. It's kind of like we used to talk about at Webster, where everybody would be like, "Yo, we had you, CJ, Hollis. You guys were the best 3 ball handlers on the team." And then it was probably like somebody else who probably was before me. I was like 4th or 5th, right? But at the same time, it's just like y'all had a better handle than me. But at the same time, it's just like I still had a bag because nobody was gonna take that ball away from me. Yeah. You know, my handles just wasn't as good as y'all's, but I still had a bag. But I was also very simple, knew how to get to my spots. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like from outside looking in, people be like, all right, a bag has to be like you got to have a crossover, got to be like Kyrie Irving, Stephen Curry, like these guys only. But no, it's like different tiers. So it's just kind of like that's kind of how I feel, and that's kind of what I feel like what a bag is. But it's a lot of like misconceptions of like having a bag for sure. But the most important aspect is just like, can you beat your man off the dribble, create off the dribble, isolation? I think that's number 1. And can you score at every level of the basketball court? Number 2. And number 3, can you be stopped in defensive like scheme? If you can be stopped in defensive scheme and people can make you uncomfortable, it's hard for me to say that you really have a bag, because you had a bag. No matter if you're tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, ain't nobody gonna stop you when it matters the most.
Yeah. So, all right, now I'm gonna list some players. You tell me bag or not. All right. So Giannis, first one, which was the name they were talking about.
No, I wouldn't say Giannis. Giannis is not bad, but Giannis is and people that say when we put out Giannis is not skilled. Giannis is a skilled basketball player, 7 feet. He can run up and down like a gazelle. Super athletic. Very lateral movement, but it's just kind of like he can't break you down isolation, or he's not really efficient at scoring at every spot on the basketball court, or really get into a spot where he feels really comfortable. His bread and butter is slashing and dunking. So I would say no.
CJ McCollum.
Definitely. Back.
He's in my top 5.
Definitely. People see definitely bad.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, he's crazy. See, people don't understand how crazy and
he's insanely skilled.
Insanely skilled. Doesn't get talked about enough because he plays with Dame.
I wish
I definitely
talk about that.
Yeah.
DeMar DeRozan.
I would say DeMar DeRozan definitely bad, but DeMar DeRozan kind of falls into that tier 3 category where he has a handle. He's an expert at getting to his spots in the basketball court. He's still a slasher, but it's kind of like you're not really taking the ball from DeMar DeRozan, and he has enough moves where he can break you down isolation and hit you with a pulley, hit you with a midi. So yeah, definitely.
Klay Thompson.
No bag. No bag. What's up? Pure shooter. Pure shooter. No bag whatsoever.
I argue with my boy up and down about this, and I was like, bro, like you gotta, if you watch film, like please show me what bag you're talking about.
Yeah, people don't understand. It's just kind of like Klay Thompson is one of the greatest shooters that ever played the game, coming off screens, catching and shooting. But it's just like it's a difference between being a fundamental basketball player and a guy that can play like, that playground style, like a Kyrie Irving, like an Allen Iverson and stuff like that, kind of like have that yo-yo and stuff like that, grew up like that. Not saying that Klay Thompson wouldn't go on the playground, not drop 50 or 60 or 100 because he would off a shooter just like that. But at the same time, it's just like you grew up, you played in Florida, you played outside, out here in New York. It's a different type of like atmosphere and like flavor and sauce and style you got to have when we talk about like having a bag. So especially in tier 1.
Colin Sexton.
It's crazy. I won't say no bad for Colin Sexton, but Colin Sexton is a player that can score at every level, and he's a two-way. He's a dog. It's just the only thing that he's a two-way player. But Colin Sexton doesn't really like excel really at one thing on the basketball court. He's just really good at everything. But he's not gonna really like break you down off the dribble. But it's just like he's still gonna score. You know what I'm saying? So, and no, I would say no bag to Colin. How you feel about that? That's iffy. That's a toss up.
I think his game is more rigid than fluid. I don't think he has, and I hate to break it down into like, just having like a combination of moves or whatever, just pretty much, combo moves to react to the defense. I feel like that's more so what it has to do. But I think he's more so like he's just gonna out tough you. Like he's going in his mind, he's saying, I'm gonna get this buck, you're not gonna stop me. It don't matter how he gets it. It don't matter what move. It don't matter. It don't gotta look pretty. Him and Jimmy Butler in the same kind of tier for me, to where they style don't gotta be pretty, but like they get it done. Like, this is how it is. It's just one game he might have his jump shot going and he looks like the best shooter on the court. Another game he might just punish the defense by taking it in and he's going to have to stop him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to say he has a bag, but I mean he's just efficient at what he does.
And if he did have a bag, he would kind of be in that tier 3 level with like Kawhi, LeBron, and Luka. And Luka got a handle, so I can't. Luka may be closer to tier 2 more so than tier 3, but I think LeBron. A lot of people look at LeBron James. LeBron James is like, if you watch LeBron James in his earlier Cavaliers days, like it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? That was when the game was more pure. Like he was just people talk about LeBron James was a pure scorer. Go watch some young Cavaliers teams where he was just going crazy. Like LeBron James got some games where he was putting up 45, 50 shooting mainly jump shots, you know what I'm saying? Cross people over like dunking the ball and stuff like that. But and even Kawhi Leonard's developed his game over time. Kawhi Leonard, he's still a little stiff, but he's still got.
But that footwork is impeccable. That's what people don't get. Like that's part of having a bag, bro. Like that footwork is impeccable. Like
footwork, his handle, quick 1, 2, 3, pull up. And that's what I'm saying. Like people don't understand. Like it's not not all the time having a bag. It's just like a player being like Kyrie or Allen Iverson or Stephen Curry or Paul George. Sometimes being a bag is like, you know, your moves are so quick and your footwork is so solid that you can get your shot off, and the defense probably can't react to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's when you talk about guys like Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and stuff like that, or even like Jason Tatum or Damian Leonard.
Okay, so then the last one, your favorite player, Wade.
D-Wade was, it's crazy because D-Wade was incredibly skilled, and a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
And D-Wade, the behind the backs, you know, he was, to me, Dwayne Wade was the greatest basketball player at ever splitting screens. So I would say Dwayne Wade has a bag because he was still super athletic. You know, it's kind of like he was a souped up version, of Baron Davis in a way.
Yeah.
Like Baron Davis was super athletic, but Baron Davis had a hand doing stuff as well. And then Dwayne Wade can do all that, but just play defense at a higher level. So I would say Dwayne Wade has a bag, but I'll put D Wade in that tier 3 too. I wouldn't be like, I don't think D Wade is like tier 1 or tier 2. Maybe closer to tier 2 than tier 3, but he's still in that like in between. But yeah, I would say D Wade had a bag.
That's real. And the next question is kind of, you touched on it earlier also, but just how was your transition from, you know, being a college athlete, living, breathing, eating, sleeping, you know, schedule, basketball, sports, workouts, weights, all that stuff, and then going to kind of the adult world, and as you said, pursuing sports management, and then getting your internship, and like, was it smooth or was it rough? I feel like a lot of young adults have trouble transitioning into this stage. So how was it a little bit for you?
I mean, to be honest, like I was transitioning the day I didn't go D1. So it was kind of like when you set your whole life up, I'm not even gonna say my whole life, but it was just kind of like when I started playing competitively, that was always the goal.
Yeah.
Was to play D1. And then especially to be on the list, to be at the mountaintop in high school, to be on guys that made it to the NBA and basically, you know, top 10 lists of scoring, and you're the only one that didn't go D1. So mentally, you can understand, like, at 18-year-old freshman, what that does. And you can even talk to Coach Bunch about this. Like, I wasn't really there my freshman year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like the sixth man, but it was nights and stuff that I didn't even want to play. I didn't care. Like, you can talk to Stefan. Like, my freshman year, it was like a roller coaster for me and stuff like that. So, and then, you know, of course, like sophomore year, I'm like, all right, I'm going to give him all, da-da-da. Then, you know, junior year, I thought about transferring, going to SLU, kind of do like the walk-on thing. Like, I was originally going to do Western Illinois, but like, I was like, I didn't have my major. So I'm like, I'm not about to I'm gonna start over and do all that. It ain't that serious. So by the time, you know, like I said, about Philadelphia Sixers with the internship and stuff like that, I got that. I kind of knew, like, you know, it's meant for me to work in the sports industry. But then it's just kind of like become an adult, like sacrifice of trying to be in this industry. It's hard. This industry is for, to be honest, it's for white boys. Who you know that can like not make no money for years, trying to be in a sports industry, trying to make a name for yourself.
Yeah.
And, you know, with no support, with no family backing you for rent. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like a lot of Black people, we go to college because that's our way to make it out of hood. We go to grad school because that's our way to have a chance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to go to grad school, but the grad school because I was making my way to have a chance to stay out here and kind of like build my career. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like sacrifices. So it was tough, you know, doing a lot of jobs, work with the St. Louis Rams before they moved to LA, going down to Atlanta, working with Georgia Tech, doing like youth basketball, moving out here, you know, doing teaching and then coaching, trying to get in the coaching industry. You know how hard that is. Basically, if you don't get a GA, you don't have a chance.
Yep.
Especially as a Black man, you don't get a GA, you don't have a chance. But it's crazy, like all the players that are playing the game, the walk-ons, the guys that are managers, they with the coaches, they building those connections, they getting those GAs after you know, college or whatever, undergrad. And the people that put in the work, you know, making money for the school, getting wins, doing all these crazy things, helping the coaches keep their jobs. We can't find an opportunity to even be in the industry that we've been playing our entire life. You know what I'm saying? So it's very challenging. But it's been times like I want to quit. There's been times that, I want to give up and stuff like that. But I would say it's all through the grace of God, to be honest, because like every job that I got ain't been through no connection. Like I said, you talk about that pride coming from St. Louis, like really getting out the mud. Like I've really gotten out the mud and I'm stamped. But it's just like I also know the importance of like my career, playing wise, career wise. Like I go back to St. Louis, and even though I'm not where I want to be, but I talk to kids back home, they look at me like I'm LeBron James.
Yeah,
They look at me like I'm a success story because I made it out. And it's so hard to make it out from my city. So it's just kind of like I had that pressure on me internally because I want to be great for myself, but I also want to be great to show kids in my city like, yo, you can make it out too.
Yeah.
You're not your environment. You can make it out the hood. You can do something great. You can be anything you want to be, even though the average salary for North St. Louis is $30,000. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of hurdles, hood, gunshots. I didn't drive-bys. I didn't see it all. You know what I'm saying? I had the best, and it's crazy because like you grow up with your friends. Like I said, I was part of DSEC program, took inner city Black kids and moved them, allowed them to get a better education. One time I was 5, I was 18. But I had friends that didn't have that opportunity, that was going to Belmont, metal detectors, kids I grew up with playing in the hood. So my best friend I grew up with, he in jail. You know what I'm saying? He doing a bid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like all because like he didn't have the same opportunity that I was blessed to have, or the same family structure that kept me on the right track, the right path. So it's just kind of like that's what I'm saying. No matter how far I go, I always want to make sure that like, yo, I'm making my city proud. And that's why we always talk about that pride, like pride in St. Louis and stuff like that. That's kind of where that comes from.
Yeah. That's real. And I think we need more of that, especially as athletes in our community. I feel like I like a lot of the athletes who give back, but then you see the other athletes who kind of, they leave and they almost don't look back. And I feel like that's a problem. Not even just I understand the mindset of, you know what, there's nothing good there for me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a trap. Cause I feel that way about, certain cities, especially where I'm from.
Yeah.
But
of course, yeah.
I just feel like if you can't reach a hand back, to help somebody from where you're from who had the same upbringing as you, then I feel like you failed as a man, bro. I just can't respect it. I just don't understand the mindset. I feel like it's crazy that we kind of evolve out of these spaces and then we pretty much assimilate to the spaces that we now belong to. You know what I'm saying? Like if I move up a social class, now I assimilate and I feel like I'm a part of that class, but it's like, nah, like I had to get here. Like if you wasn't born into that class to me, like, you know what I'm saying? You had to scratch and claw to get there. Like you're not really from there, but I feel like we do that too often and kind of turn our backs on our own people. So that's good that you still had that mindset. I feel like we all need that. I think we all need a reminder in that. But the next segment we're going to do is the question game. We're going to do it Family Feud style. So you can answer these as quick or as slow, as in-depth as you would like. The first one, which we always ask every guest, what's the coldest player you ever played against and how much he gave you?
Woo, coldest player.
Coldest player you ever played against. It could be at any level too, from high school to college to whatever.
Coldest player I ever played against. Yeah, man. I feel like my teammate for a high school, my boy Devontae, in practices, we used to go to war. You know what I'm saying? Like he was cold, bro. Like we really used to battle out. But the coldest I done played against is Ben McLemore. Like
tough. And we know what he means to that city.
Ben McLemore. And it's crazy because like I was part of I was on this rich ass school, Clayton. He was part of, a terrible school district in Wellston. And we played them in their last game at their home while their gym that was it. That was the last game the school was ever going to see. They was closing school down. And he gave me 35. Every shot, fade away, jumper,
motivated,
3-point shot. I was guarding him. It's crazy because at first, like, I didn't have the responsibility to guard. So I came out and I was coming back off an injury. This is my junior year. I was coming back off an injury and I hit 10 quick. 3 threes, like I'm here. So it's like, it's whatever, because, like sometimes when you play on a school, like a rich school, you got certain players that like get intimidated by like going to the hood and stuff. I'm from this environment, you know what I'm saying? this ain't nothing. I almost felt bad because like, yo, we ended up beating it. We ended up winning the game and stuff. I felt bad at the end. I'm like, damn, because like, we really from the same. I'm 10 minutes away home. You know what I'm saying? Like we really from the same hood, you know? But yeah, Ben McLemore in high school, he gave me 35. I think it's a picture on the internet, like me and my homie Christian trying to guard him and stuff like that. He was just tough, man. He was tough. I knew he was league bound.
Yeah,
like
you can always tell once you cross paths with him, you can always tell.
Yeah, he league bound. I was like, yeah, this boy tough. So definitely Ben McLemore.
And then the next question is, what advice do you have for Ben Simmons right now?
Take as much time as you need mentally. I mean, like if you really got stuff mentally going on, take as much time as you need. I know if I was in Ben Simmons' situation, people can say what they want to say. Unless you've been on a team, unless you've been like played competitively, unless you've been in locker rooms, that's the only way you can really sit up and say like call somebody selfish or say like, yo, because I wouldn't have done that if I was in Ben Simmons' situation. Yeah. But we also have to take into account that, yo, if my teammates was talking shit behind my back and throwing me under the bus, you think I would want to play with them? You know what I'm saying? That in the team, in the locker room, it's supposed to be a brother, it's supposed to be a bond. Now I would say that was one thing that kind of like at Webster, it was kind of like a disconnect sometimes in our locker room, especially like my senior year. It's just like we had basically, it was like the black kids were cool with each other and the white kids were kind of cool with each other. And it was just kind of like that can create a disconnect at times. It wasn't really like that my junior year, but like my freshman year, I kind of felt that. Not my freshman year, my sophomore year, I kind of felt that. And my senior year, I kind of felt that. But my junior, freshman year was kind of like we were more together. You know what I'm saying? And that happens. But at the same time, it's like, regardless of that happening, like you still got to hold your teammates down. So if I'm Ben, you take as much time as you need. But he wants out. You need the Sixers need to just trade him because like you can't have a player that just doesn't want to be there. Because in the back of his mind, it's just like things may trigger him. He may be on the court. He may think
that's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
Like, damn, this shit. Like, well, I'll let him play bad, or let the fans start booing him. He may be like, he may get on the court and play 2 games, and then some crazy shit may happen. He'd be like, damn, I need another week off. I can't do this. I really don't want to be here. So like people always talk about like mental health, how important it is for mental health and stuff like that. Until it's a player they don't like, or until it's a player that actually like, you know, the fans don't like or whatever. It's just kind of like you can't have like this mental awareness and like, oh, we want to be support for mental health and stuff like that, and then be talking about players and saying this player is this player is that. They did that with Kyrie Irving a lot too. So it's really crazy.
And then how do you feel about the new NBA foul rules?
I'm playing wise, it's frustrating because I know some of the players are probably really frustrated because we look at the game differently. We see like, yo, this is a foul. Like,
yeah, flat out.
but at the same time, I'm still a fan, so I understand like, yo, and I played, so I'm like, yo, James Harden, you could have got that layup, dog, but you kind of like try to draw a foul, get an and one. You know what I'm saying? Like they let you, the second zone of the basketball court is open. Ain't nobody in front, shoot the midi, but you ain't trying to do that. You trying to go and draw a foul. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, it's like up and down. It's just like one way I feel like, yo, like the refs on some bullshit. They need to call these fouls because a lot of these are fouls, but they need to create a balance. Like, and kind of like, it can't be so hot and cold. It can't be like the players are just manipulating the fouls 24/7 and getting away with it. And now it can't be like they calling everything. I mean, they're not calling nothing, even though they should be calling stuff. So the refs got to find a balance, and the players got to find a balance as well.
And then the last question, what players do we need to start having a conversation about? Give me one good, one bad. So one like bad where it's like, hey, the jig is up on this player. Like we've seen enough. He's trending downwards. Another one like, hey, like please keep your eye out. Like he's here.
He's trending downwards, man. Who was the jig? Oh man, you know I try to speak highly of players, so. Trending downwards? Give me some teams. I'm trying to think of some teams. Like,
think about who's having a bad season right now, or who's having a good season. For example, like one of mine would be like Ja Morant. I remember last year when he gave it a take. I'm top 5, and given a lot of players are hurt, you know what I'm saying. I understand that, but he said he's top 5. And I was kind of like, come on, bro. Like, kind of like the whole Tyler Hero thing. I was like, slow down, bro. Like, slow your roll. But hey,
he's answering the bell.
He's showing me some things this year. Like, I think he's definitely trending up. I think we need to start having a conversation about him because and I always said once he improved that shooting, that he'd be legit. I mean, he's shooting it better, he's shooting with more confidence. If you get that thing consistent, I mean, I don't see how he gets left out of top 5 for sure. So that'd be like one of my players. Like, we need to start having a conversation about him.
Yeah, one of my players I was saying we should have a conversation about, I would probably say, I think Anthony Edwards is here. Anthony Edwards is special. I think people gotta understand, like, yo, it's a lot of players that people say that's better than Anthony Edwards. I don't know. I'm talking about young players, you know what I'm saying? Young players in the game. Like I don't know. Anthony Edwards is here. Like, and I was telling people, like, don't get so caught up in his lack of his shooting percentages at Georgia. Like, he can shoot. He got the midi, he got the athleticism, and he played defense. People like to talk about, like, he's D Wade. He has a little D Wade in his game, but like, when's the last time we seen like a guard that can score at elite 3 levels on the basketball court, but also as a dog defender?
Yeah, that don't happen often. I'll tell you that.
It don't happen often.
They have the dog mentality too. That's the biggest thing, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like, those are like, that's like D Wade, T-Mac, Kobe, Michael, like those like rare shooting guards. Like, yo, we talking about legends. You know what I'm saying? Like, Anthony Edwards, that's my guy. That's like, yo, pay attention to Anthony Edwards and what he's doing. Even though he's only this is his second season, but he's here in my opinion. Guy that I feel like the jig is up.
You're not gonna like mine.
It may be the same one if I could think. Who you got?
You know who I'm gonna say. It's not so much the jig is up, but I really don't think that Tatum can be your best player on a championship team, bro.
Oh, no.
I don't see it, bro. I don't see it, bro.
Crazy.
First of all, the Jaylen Brown and Tatum experiment isn't gonna work. That's the first.
That's crazy. I think
because it wasn't until I was not going to be drastic until they showed that stat where it was the players that took over 20 attempts per game in their assists. And it's like, who do you build around them to? You can't surround them with shooters because they don't pass the ball well. You can't give them a dominant big man because the spacing is all messed up. So it's like, how do you build around those two? I don't see them two working, bro. I don't see it.
I think you're going to see them two working. It's more so about, not necessarily more so about Tatum not being the number one guy, because we've seen Tatum kind of like.
But he's been the number one guy there for the longest.
Yeah, and they've been having success. I mean, what do you define as success? Because not everybody's going to win a championship. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of
I gotta see you at least get close. I need to see you get somewhere.
I mean, they made Eastern Conference Finals appearances and stuff like that.
Year was I wouldn't put that year.
I'm saying, but I wouldn't put it all on him. But it's just like he's been. I mean, you got to understand. I think the year they were supposed to make it was kind of like probably the bubble in a way. It was for them in Miami. One of them should have made it. I think the Boston Celtics could have.
Yeah. That series was terrible for all. I can't even say that series was terrible.
With all of them, like Kemba Walker as well, like all them guys. But I don't think it's Jason Tatum. I look at the front office kind of like.
I mean, but we know about Boston.
We know. I know, but we can't really say like it's kind of like with Zach LaVine and Devin Booker. We know, like,
compare him to though. I was gonna say that I feel like he's like in the Zach LaVine tier to where. But again, so for example,
but he's had more success than like Tatum's been to the East Conference Finals. He's been a second. Like he's had a lot of more success than Luka Doncic.
He's got help. That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying he's had more. He's had more success than Luka Doncic being the number one option. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna say like the jig is up on Tatum.
But Luka never had a co-star neither. That's why I kind of cut him some slack. Don't get me wrong, Luka's still.
But Jalen Green. But we gotta stop pretending like Jalen Green's developed, bro. He ain't been this Jalen Green. You know.
Yeah, Brown. Yeah, no.
Since Jalen Brown since then. So that plays a big factor. But it's kind of like I look at the Boston Celtics. It's kind of like, of course, I think Jason Tatum's the best young player in the game. But at the same time, it's just like you got Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown don't feel like, you know how it is in the locker room. Jaylen Brown look like I'm just as good, if not better than you know what I'm saying. So it's just kind of like you can take exactly. I can tell we know that. So it's just kind of like people would say like, oh, gradually like, yo, you kind of got to get rid of like you got to pick between the two. But it's not even that. I feel like yet it may get to that point, but it's just kind of like. you know it's hard winning a championship with a wing tandem.
Hey,
time,
like I said, always only one team wins. And I say your big can't be your best player, so that eliminates already a lot of options right there. And so you have a slim pickings.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like we saw Miami and LeBron and D Wade do it as a wing tandem. That was the last time we saw a championship, and look who we just said. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. And then before that, it was like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Yeah. And we see, you know what I'm saying? And then we see like Kawhi and Paul George kind of like they can have success, but we don't know if they're gonna better win the championship. It's hard when there's a wing tandem, because you got to have one guy kind of got to buy in to be, you know, either out of rhythm at times or just, you know, I'm gonna really be that second option. And I think Jaylen Brown can do that, but at the same time, I look at the Boston Celtics and understand that, they had a chance to get Lonzo Ball. They had a chance to get Nikola Vucevic. These are two players that would have been a perfect fit for Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So their offense, they really have never got the right piece. Even Kemba Walker is a bucket, a shot creator. Like that pairing wasn't going to necessarily work because like them guys need the ball. So you need kind of like a true point guard, like a Chris Paul.
That's why I don't know who you pair them with.
That's what I'm saying. It's scary. That's why I was telling people, I was like, I love Jason Tatum. But the Boston Celtics, I was like, they're gonna probably be a playing team, if that, because it's just kind of like I'm looking at their roster. Dennis Schroeder, he wants to get his money. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like Marcus Smart coming out saying stuff about passing, and he's taking long shot contested 2s and 3s. I'm like, that don't even make sense. Aren't you a guard? Aren't you supposed to be? Weren't you this like almost triple double machine in college? Like it's
laugh, bro.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But I look at the front office. I look at that like Vucevic was there for the take. Vucevic went from a bag of peanuts to the Chicago Bulls last year to trade deadline. He would have been a perfect. You need like a modern day center or modern day big where you can he can stretch the floor, you can get a ball in the low block. That helps them. Or you need a traditional point guard that can kind of like set up Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, run an offense, allow them to get easier shots.
That is coaching
so that's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily look at it.
What are they doing?
I don't necessarily look like it's like Tatum can't be the number one guy, or even Jaylen Brown can't be the number one guy at times. I just look at it like that offense is like so like.
That's my point, though. That's why I think their offense is terrible. That's why I don't think they're going to win. So I just don't see it working like that.
Yeah, so I think it's more so you should frame your question differently. And not talking about Jay. You should frame it.
I'm still down that hill. I don't think he can be the number one option on a championship team. I honestly think he leaves the Celtics. And I think he goes.
There you go. You already know what's coming.
You see what I'm saying, though.
But I
think he gets it.
I think he. I mean, bro, it's hard. He dropped 50 on KD, Kyrie, and Harden. Like, the brother is special, bro. I mean,
world-class talent. That's why he gets me so frustrated.
He's special, but at the same time, it's just kind of like you need sometimes players like you got LeBron James. Like you could just throw anything around like LeBron, or you could. Here's an argument for people that want to say that like Luka Doncic is over Jason Tatum. Luka Doncic is like he's a dual forward, so he makes his teammates better. He's gonna be the engine. Tatum may necessarily can't be your engine on your team, right?
Yeah.
But he can be one of the parts to drive your car, you know, so he can be the best scorer. Yeah. It's kind of like the Kevin Durant situation. That's kind of like the whole Kevin Durant, LeBron James. People are like LeBron James is better than Kevin Durant because LeBron James just is a better engine. And that's why most people say like Luka Doncic is better than Jason Tatum because Luka's a better engine. So people are saying like, oh, Jason Tatum maybe should like try to play like this point forward type, dual forward type of role. Like he can do that, but that's not, you take away from his best attribute, it's his scoring. So it's just, that's why you got to build a team around him, similar to like Kevin Durant when he went to Golden State Warriors. And then when he had that right team around him, Kevin Durant was unstoppable. When Kevin Durant had to make sure that Russ wasn't wilding sometimes, OKC and stuff like that, it was like, it kind of got hard, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what we see with the Boston Celtics. But I don't really have one for like a player that the jig is up. That's disrespectful. You even said Tatum. Like that's you just talk about that duo. Just say the Boston Celtics the jig is up as a team. Don't play. He had two.
This is my agenda pushing for him to lead. I got a few of them. Damian Lillard is also the one other one. Agenda pushing. They got to get out of there, bro. They gotta go. Like it's over. The rain.
There you go. There you go. No, that's the jig is up.
Like it's over. Like it's done.
That's
the
jig is it.
I don't. Everybody who's struggling from the field right now, they changed the ball.
Yeah.
The scoring is gonna be fine, but just like people gotta know when systems just don't work. Like it's done. They don't work. Like it's over with. Like a 2-tiered guard system. Like you've gone as far as you're gonna go. Like be happy that you reached the Western Conference Finals, and then all right, like blow it up, bro. Like we tired of seeing it. Blow it up. At this point, y'all wait for the playoff spot.
Yeah, whatever you said, man. There you go, Dame. The jig is up. Portland. He should have been out. That's the jig is up. Like you talking about Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the Celtics, and had more success than Dame had his entire career. Yeah. It's like, just think about that. Like, hey, $250 million account.
And I was gonna say, hey, listen, dog. You give me a few super maxes, I might chill too. I'm not gonna hold you, dog.
It is what it is.
That's how it goes. But anyways, though, I appreciate you for coming on. For all those out there, thank you for tuning in when this episode drops. Follow the handles on Instagram, unrestrictedFA_pod, and on Twitter, unrestrictedFA1. As always, we appreciate your comments. Like and subscribe. If you have anything else, please reach out. Don't hesitate to reach out. We want this to be a safe space for all athletes in the community. We're gonna leave the closing words to Young Ma. Give the people some free game. Give them anything they need to know, whether it's connected to adulthood or just the basketball space. Tell them something.
Nah, I like what you're doing here, Ojo. I think you got a great pod. I like the mix of like real hoop conversation, but also like more in depth. Like we talking about like mental health or just talking about things that most like basketball podcasts ain't really talking about. So that's really cool. I appreciate you for having me on. Free game. I'm on phone 314. Jason Tatum one day will be the best player in the NBA. NBA Los Angeles Laker. Yeah. That's just a fact. He's the best young player in the game right now. And that's not even me being biased because I'm from St. Louis. That's just me spitting facts. I can break down the stats and this and that. I'm gonna let Ojo feel how he feels.
Listen, if he's on the Lakers, dog, you're gonna see a different me. I'm gonna support him like nobody ever did. All right.
And once again, if you ever said these things, I want you to know that your basketball.
Oh, you just reminded me.
Your basketball.
Yes, you just reminded me. Yeah, we gotta go with that.
I thought we was ending.
Let me know you don't know hoops. Give him the first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was about to say something anyway.
Don't say. Yeah, go into that.
If you said at any point that LeBron James is washed, you don't know hoops.
Yeah, that's real.
If you said that KD wouldn't come back as KD, meaning a top 5 player in the game.
Yes, preach.
You don't know hoops. Preach. I heard that for an entire year. When people, that's what I had to question people. Are you really watching the game? Are you really watching these players? Do you really know basketball? Because if you know something, Kevin Durant's game was never predicated on his athleticism. It was always predicated on his skill set. If this was LeBron James that went down with something that's crazy at that, then I would have been a little worried. But not Kevin Durant. Last but not least, if you thought Trae Young wasn't going to be Trae Young in the NBA, and he's been Trae Young in high school, in college,
I was just having that conversation with my high school coach the other day.
Your basketball knowledge is very questionable. That's it.
Yeah, we're going to keep going from that one. The next part is if you can't go outside right now, make a left-hand layup. 10 times out of 10, just don't talk basketball anymore. For all the analysts out there, if we're talking about players and you mentioned advanced stats as your basic argument, you don't know hoops. All right. And I'm going to go into that one a little bit because most fans, they watch their team and they read box scores. So and again, people like us, everybody who knows me, I have a game on my phone. I'll have a split screen on my computer and I'll have one on the TV. Like I watch over the course of a season, I probably watch every team at least 15 to 20 times. You know what I'm saying? But for that average person out there who just reads box scores and they end the game saying, well, his plus minus was minus 20. And over the course of the season, they compile those stats and tell me so and so isn't good. Like, bro, you don't know. Like, stop talking basketball.
That's why I used to argue with people. I used to get paid to watch basketball for 3 years at the NBA. Literally paid to watch basketball. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, it's different when you like watching it. Like you really got to watch it and analyze and stuff like that. Or you do it for fun or you do it for, comfort because you love the game. But it's a lot of box score hoop fans out there.
Bro,
really gonna sit up and tell you that this NBA award should be determined because of their plus minus and their win shares only. It's people that would say that Kobe Bryant's not a top 5 player because they'll look at like Kobe Bryant only got one MVP.
That's my biggest one.
Kobe Bryant only got one MVP. Like, damn, I like no disrespect, but I saw Steve Nash got multiple MVPs that were very questionable. Giannis Antetokounmpo, listen, hey, it is what it is. Like
he's gonna have a top 10 resume soon. Like, no doubt about that. But
that defensive player of the year award that he won over Anthony Davis was very questionable because of defensive analytics stats that he was high in, but it was crazy.
We about to see Rudy Gobert finish as he probably gonna get the most ever.
It's crazy because of defensive analytics stats, and it's crazy. And I always used to point out that defensive player of the year award that Giannis won, that his defensive analytics stats when he was off the court and when Brook Lopez was on the court, the Milwaukee Bucks was a better team when Giannis was off the court. Brook Lopez was on. Does that make sense?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's what I said. So those analytics stats can be very, very, very like
the same thing. And again, this is why people don't watch.
Dangerous.
When they asked, I remember when Rudy Gobert did it. They literally asked players, like they surveyed players to ask them, like, who was a better defender, and again, if your peers, if you in the hoop community at the highest level and your peers don't even respect you as a defensive player, like bro.
Oh, this is another thing. This is the last one. Like, if you think that you're talking about defense, we've been talking about defense. Like, if you think that guarding is the most important aspect
on ball
when it comes to defense, you need to go look in the mirror because like help side and rim protecting that matters, but like guarding will always be the most important aspect on the defensive side of the floor.
That's real. And again, that's a lot of free game for everybody. I hope we can blast this to. I might just tag Bleacher Report and all them guys in this video when it drops because they need to learn something about this. We're not gonna get into the 75 list and the player list that they always botch, but enough of that. Appreciate you again for signing on. Ojo out. Thanks again, Amal. Y'all, please shout out and support his podcast on Slam on all platforms, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, it's on the platform.
On all platforms. They're doing a great job killing it right now. Show love to them when you get a chance. Appreciate you for coming on again. Signing off.
What are you going for?
Sure.
Hey, welcome to Slam Presents No Pump Fakes. I'm your co-host, Theus McBee.
And I'm your co-host, Ahmad Smith. Welcome to the official podcast of the Basketball Bible.
Now, this podcast is going to be designed for just hoop.
No gimmicks, no forced narratives, no unnecessary slander. It's strictly hoop.
Now, you got to ask yourself, why is it called No Pump Fake? Well, see, we don't hesitate on our takes. We don't second guess on what we got to say. We don't pump fake. Cap or no cap, Shaq would average 40 in today's NBA.
Hell no, that's cap. The most unappreciated player in the NBA is Trae Young.
Yeah, you know damn well I'm not going to disagree with that.